Sound design. While it may not garner as much attention as an anime's visual elements, I'd argue that it is an equally important aspect of the storytelling that goes on in any good anime. Whether it be a fight scene in an action anime, or a tense conflict in a character drama, sound design has always played a vital role in contributing to a cohesive presentation of the show's aesthetic vision. In the next few minutes, I hope to give you a quick introduction to some of the elements of sound design and how they impact the anime viewing experience. Before I go any farther, I'd like to make a disclaimer. By no means am I an expert on sound design and production. While I do have around 6 years of experience in amateur mixing and audio engineering, that's not to say I'm well versed in these topics or have any industry experience in anime sound production. So take what I'm saying with a pinch of salt. With that being said, let's get back to the video. Probably the most familiar aspect of sound design, the OST of a show is critical in setting scenes, establishing emotions and tension, as well as the overall atmosphere of an anime. Think of Kevin Penkin's superb soundtrack as we look into the gaping maw of the abyss in the first real establishing shot we get of Made in Abyss's world. A more subtle but still highly effective usage of OST is OLM's use of character and location themes in ODDDTAXI. Yano's off-kilter but highly rhythmic theme is a recognizable symbol that heralds his entrance, and meshes well with his character's trademark of rapping while he talks. The almost comedic elements of the production serve to juxtapose the severity of Yano's speech, emphasizing the chaotic nature of Yano's character. Dobu's theme, on the other hand, immediately conveys an ominous sense of danger that we quickly learn to associate with Dobu's character. An OST isn't only comprised of atmospheric mood pieces, however. While Kimi no Nama may have highlighted the usage of full-length lyrical songs in anime, insert songs have been utilized at least as far back as 2 decades before, with the dual songs of Revolutionary Girl Utena in 1997. In 2004, we see Beck with its fantastic soundtrack and in-episode performances, although perhaps the more iconic scene came from the melancholy of Suzumiya Haruhi with its performance of God Knows in 2006. More recently, Carol and Tuesday demonstrated a wonderful soundtrack, although perhaps lacking in other areas of execution. Insert songs have long been used as a more emphatic way of directing the emotions of a scene, often reserved for particularly powerful moments. An anime's soundtrack has the critical role of influencing emotion and storytelling, but that's not the only part of sound design. Cut away the music and dialogue from an anime, and what you're left with are the sound effects, environmental sounds that inform the audience about the setting and its interactions with the characters. While other elements like the art style and soundtrack may take center stage in determining the aesthetic tone of a series, sound effects play a significant role as well. If you want your series to be set in a world as close to reality as possible, having accurate sound effects are key. Take HaiKyuu for example. While it is definitely a dramatized portrayal of volleyball, it takes a far more grounded approach than some other sports anime. Helping to achieve that realism are the sound effects, and I appreciate the effort that production IG put into enhancing the action with footsteps, sneaker squeaks, ball bounces and more, even if it's not one-to-one with reality. And who could ever forget the beautiful sound of Oikawa's serve? Sometimes, however, realism isn't the goal, and sound effects are used for a different result. Take a listen to the sound effects from this scene of Kaze Tachinu, or The Wind Rises, from Studio Ghibli. Besides the absolutely stunning animation, you might have noticed that the sound effects have an unusual quality to them. One of the artistic decisions made by the team was if the sound effects synthesized from human voice actors, adding to the organic feel to objects such as the plane's engines, fire, and earthquake. Another example comes from Shaft's Sangatsu no Lion, where sound effects are used to create an air of mystery, enhancing the abstract aesthetic that has become characteristic of many Shaft productions. Here, rather than fantastical sounds, it is the exaggerated hyper-realism of the sound effects that is juxtaposed against the art style, with the howling wind in the opening scene effective in establishing an unsettling tone, more perhaps than a fabricated sound effect could. In my opinion, sound effects can populate the world of an anime in a way similar to the effect of its art style, adding in extra detail that helps present a specific artistic vision when used correctly. Finally, we move on to what I think is the aspect of sound design that goes underappreciated the most, probably because it is the most subtle. This is my own definition, but soundscape is the combination of multiple elements, such as mixing, effects, EQ, and much more than I am qualified to talk about, but it boils down to this: the depth and breadth of the sound, how full it feels. I realize after saying that how little it actually tells you, so let me give you an example. This is taken from Vivy, Fluorite song, one of the anime that truly impressed me with the amount of attention paid to its soundscape.
当時の国際宇宙ステーションからの映像です。
This scene takes place in the archive, and is one of the more obvious instances of how the series produces depth in its sound design. Listen to what the stripped down dialogue sounds like.
当時の国際宇宙ステーションからの映像です。
And now listen to the actual thing again.
当時の国際宇宙ステーションからの映像です。
With the use of reverb and echo, not only does the scene take on a more ephemeral quality, but it sounds full. Hopefully, that helps clarify what a good soundscape really means: immersion. However, a series doesn't have to use post-processing effects to achieve this. Another key part is volume. What audio engineers call balancing is basically the manipulation of volume of different sounds happening at the same time. When done well, the effect is subtle and mostly overlooked. When done poorly, nearly everyone can tell that there's just something off.
選んだ魔王候補ですね。やっつけたか。
In this clip from Trinity 7, the deafeningly loud sound effects, soundtrack that clashes with the dialogue for attention, and narrow use of the soundscape make for a scene that is mildly unpleasant to listen to, but enough to take away from the enjoyment of the show. On the other hand, have a listen to this masterpiece of a fight scene, taken from Ufotable's Unlimited Blade works. The sound effects and music here are balanced and dynamically adjusted to the fight, with notable differences in volume used to convey emphasis, giving the scene the extra pop that allows you to focus on the action. Soundscape is all about immersion, and while it may not make or break a show, I think it can be the defining factor that elevates an anime from simply being good to being truly great. And that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video was able to offer a little fresh perspective on the considerations that go into sound design and the work that goes into it as well. I know this isn't what my usual content looks like, so please let me know if you enjoyed it by leaving a comment down below or liking the video. Once again, I make no claims to be an expert on this topic, so if you notice something wrong, feel free to correct me. Subscribe for more weeb related content, and thanks again for watching. I'll catch you all next time. See ya.